This is the story of one decision, a quiet dilemma behind closed doors that could have altered the course of history. Imagine this. The year is 1942. World War II is raging. Cities are in ruins. Nations are grappling in one of the most destructive conflicts the world has ever seen. Yet behind the scenes, across a quiet facility in the British countryside known as Bletchley Park, the ultimate war secret had been cracked. The German military's Enigma code system, once thought to be unbreakable, had been deciphered. Let's start with the stakes. Enigma, a cryptographic system used by Nazi Germany, played a central role in Nazi communications. Every order, every movement, every attack was encrypted within this seemingly impenetrable cipher. Breaking it was considered impossible, a fool's errand. But Alan Turing, a name that might just sound familiar to you, and a team of brilliant minds achieved the impossible. Armed with a primitive computer called the bomb, they deduced how to unlock the system and began intercepting Nazi communications. But, and here is where things start to take an unexpected turn, was this a blessing, or was it a burden? You see, the Allied forces now had a weapon of unprecedented power, knowledge. They could pinpoint enemy submarines, anticipate attacks, and predict the enemy's next strategic moves. And yet, they now faced a seemingly insurmountable challenge, keeping their breakthrough a secret. Why not spread the word, you might ask? Why hold back when victory was within grasp? But just ponder this. If the Germans realized that their cipher had been compromised, they'd change their systems. All the time, effort, and lives spent to break Enigma would suddenly be rendered futile. This secret weapon would be obliterated overnight. And so, the Codebreakers faced a gut-wrenching dilemma. How far would you go to win a war without revealing you've intercepted its most precious secret? Smart strategies were devised at Bletchley Park to veil their incredible discovery. Imagine this for a moment. Information had to be leaked through false narratives to ensure that the Germans never suspected the true source of the Allied forces' intelligence. One gripping example, arguably one of the hardest decisions they made, was an uncovered German mission about to bomb a civilian ship. Decoding the Enigma confirmed this as a certainty. They knew who, when, where, and how. Yet they also knew that saving the ship might provoke Nazi Germany to recalibrate its encryption efforts. So, they let the ship sink, sacrificing innocent lives to protect the bigger picture. And then there's Operation Fortitude, a deception operation unparalleled in the annals of war. Do you know why D-Day was so effectively executed? Because of information fed via imaginary armies and fake infrastructure. Yes, you heard me. A phantom army. Inflated balloon tanks, smoke and mirrors, all designed to make the Germans believe that the main invasion would occur at Pas de Calais, while Normandy was hit instead. All this because of intelligence gathered directly from decoding Enigma, layered with misinformation that the Germans fell for hook, line, and sinker. What would you do in their shoes? Destroy specific targets, saving lives in the short term, and run the risk of alerting the enemy? Or control the information precisely, risking lives today to end the war tomorrow? Could you live with the weight of that secret, carrying it every single day? Because here's the kicker. Decoding Enigma wasn't just saving lives. It was also rewriting military strategy. Imagine the shock and awe faced by German forces as they seemed perpetually outmaneuvered at every turn without realizing how their moves were being scooped out of thin air. And the cost. The toll on those operating in Bletchley Park wasn't trivial. being entrusted with the deepest secrets of the war didn't come without heavy emotional weight. Men and women working hours upon unbelieving hours, knowing they held the survival of ships, cities, and nations in their hands, yet unable to tell anyone, even their closest family members, about what they did. After the war, many of them carried this burden without acknowledgement, their deeds unsung for decades. Now let's consider the aftermath. The cracking of Enigma and the secrecy surrounding it isn't just a tale of a practical wartime fiasco. It's about humanity. It's about ethics, choice, and values. It's about deciding whether to sacrifice the few for the many. It's the eternal question of collateral damage, magnified into stark reality. Alan Turing's contribution is often singled out, and rightfully so. But it's important to highlight the team effort entirely working around him. Joan Clark, a brilliant cryptanalyst in her own right, often gets overshadowed in popular renditions. If Enigma was broken, it wasn't because of one genius alone, but because of the sharpest minds of a generation mathematically and methodically unlocking the secrets of a machine that killed millions. Modern historians argue over how much of the war was shortened due to Bletchley Park's work, but one popular estimate suggests anywhere between 2 to 4 years and millions of lives saved. Think about that for a second. Imagine if the war had dragged on even longer. The atomic bomb itself might not have been the final word in World War II. Would we have found entirely different atrocities waiting around the corner? And here's one plot twist for you. Almost all the evidence, the papers, the research work behind breaking Enigma, destroyed, burnt systematically toward the end of the war lest the technology fall into other hands. This is a story of a triumph that no one knew to celebrate for several decades. Today, Bletchley Park stands as a monument to this unparalleled chapter in human history, a restored museum dedicated to something that once didn't even officially exist. And as you walk through its halls, a place steeped in secrecy and urgency, it's impossible not to ponder the burdens its inhabitants carried. So, as we study the past, often glorifying triumphs and vilifying tragedies, let's remember the countless people behind the scenes, making decisions so harrowing, so profound, that their ramifications lasted generations. Decisions they made, trusting they had done what was best for the world, even if the world would never know. This, you, listening to this story, this might very well be the first time you learn how close the line between ethics and intelligence truly can be. And now, this moment belongs to you. What would you have done? Because history's dilemmas are rarely simple, and they certainly aren't ever easy. One small decision can ripple across time, embedding itself into the memory of humanity forever. So next time someone talks about breaking Enigma, remember the people, remember the sacrifices, remember the consequences, and above all, remember the question that hangs in the air. A part of us will always wonder, did they get it right? Only history knows for sure.